how I want it to this morning with these angles of cameras and that's what I'm always worried about. When I click it in like that, it always does. I don't get why it does that, but hey ho. Let's try again. Do. There's got to be an easier way to mount a camera. There really has. Okay, let's have a look at that. Just like that ain't too bad. Tightening up a few things. That still moves. Oh well. Okay, let's try that. So there we go. Let's just put a few things on. Let's see. That should be okay for you guys on Facebook. Morning, Diane. Hopefully you're well. I'm just seeing for one if I've got a picture, and if you can just let me know that you can hear me, that would be grand. Oh look, there we go. It says I'm live. We're doing chickens today. Okay, that's not too bad. It's sort of straight. There we go. Okay, brill. Oh, is that clear? Let's have a look. Morning, Moira. Hopefully you're well. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I'm thinking that's okay. Morning, Debbie. Hopefully you're well. Good morning. Sound and vision all good. Oh, perfect. Voila. Hey. Do you know something? I'm sure I've got the onset of arthritis in my thumb. Kills, that does that. Absolutely. Can't stay long. It's all right, so catch up later's good. We're doing chickens today. Chickens. Love it. Morning, Susan. So I've got TE48 and SS30, which is the new stencil from Tracy Evans. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to do a bit of freehand. I've got a reference picture. I've got some crayons. Well, pencils. Why do I say crayons? Naughty me. I've got a selection of just different things which I think might go depending on the background, because I don't know what I want to do yet. And I've also got, morning Louise, I've also got the new die from the die set. Which is absolutely fabulous. So if you haven't got it, it's definitely, it's really good quality, really nice. So if I got a chance, I'll run it through my Big Shot or my Gemini, whichever comes to hand first. Apart from that, it's going to be one of those, you know. So there you go. So we've got a minute or so. I'll let everyone log on and then we'll crack on. Morning all you lot on the Book of Faces. Let me just make sure your picture's all nice. There we go. Let's bring it over a touch maybe. Let's do it like that. Here we are. Sorted. Hopefully that's, you've got a better picture there. Brill. Okay. Morning lovely. Pop on. What's that on? Popping on quick. Oh, that's fine. Oh, Mom, that's it. Well, if you're going to see Mom, that's priority over me all day long. Goodness me. But yes, hello, good morning. Morning, Sheila. Glad to see me. I'm glad to see you as well. Morning, Chris. Hopefully you're well. Crazy old chicken. This is going to be good fun. I'm using A6 300 GSM Super Smooth. It's 10 o'clock. Let's do this. Because I'm not going to be here all day, sort of thing. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do a bit of drawing. So, oh, Nanny Chris. It's always Nanny Chris. I love it. Absolutely fabulous. I've got 2 pieces of card because I don't know how quick this is going to take me. Now, as I said, I've got SS30, which is the new Tracy Evans stencil. Now, this is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So, Tracy's stencils come with a cutout, which is absolutely fabulous. So, you could do like a shade off and then do in, or you could just do a main image in. You know, again, it's your choice, but that's what I did. Put them in a washing up bowl. Oh, crumbs, which you need when they start aching and what's it in, but yeah. So there you go. Morning, Helen. Chicken in it just. So obviously with a stencil, you can use it either way. You can use it as it's facing that way or the opposite way, which is what I like about stencils. So what I've got to complement this with TE48 with some of the, there's obviously a variety of sizes of chickens on this. Tracy does like her chickens. And then I've also got chicken, which is another stamp. Obviously it's just a little bit different. Old Feathered Friends. So I don't know whether I want to use the word chicken or Old Feathered Friends or even the stamp itself, but I've got them as a just in case. And I've also picked up these caterpillar. You know, does chickens like caterpillars? And then I've also picked these up. And the reason I've picked these up is if I wanted to put a little bit of foliage around whatever I design now, these are going to be ideal for these smaller little pieces. So it's not for anything else this is just maybe for backgrounds, and I've only got these as a just in case, and if I use them, obviously I'll clarify what stamp I'm using with you. But I picked up the caterpillar because I thought, oh, do chickens eat caterpillars? I know they eat all sorts of things, don't they? So I'm going to put them over there out the way because I'm not sure if I'm using them. Now, I'm definitely using, I'm not using the die. I'm definitely possibly going to use the word chicken, so that's going there, but I am using the stencil. And as I say, I've got these because I thought, how cute would these be if I do a realistic chicken and then had some silhouettes in the background sort of thing. So I'm using some of the what are they? Polychrome. I've got to remember these now. Polychrome colour pencils from Faber-Castell, which I love. And I've got an array of colours. Hello! I've got an array of colours, which this is my reference picture. So this is from Animal Database Fandom. That's my reference picture. So I've just been, will you be doing the funky chicken? Hell yeah, there you go, funky chicken. That's about as far as I'm doing funky chicken today. And what I've done is I've used the pencils that I've chose here, and I've put them down so I can sort of make sure I'm getting the right colours. And if you are using reference pictures, it's a really good thing to do this beside your reference picture, is to make sure that your colours are close, or you know you can blend them close to your reference. So that's all that you can see on here. And I was just messing around with some pencils, as you do. But yeah, so that's all I've done that for there, is just to see if I can, morning Debs, if they're colours, and I'm happy with that. So that's why they're here. Yeah, you got to be a good old sport, ain't ya? Funky chicken and all that. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually start now. I haven't done this before. I haven't prepped or anything. So this is totally off the cuff. This is total freestyle, as one says. I'm going to put this one out the way. That's TE48. And then we're just left with the SS30, which is the new snippet stencil called Cluck. Cluck, cluck. I wonder why it's called Cluck. Love it. Might actually do two different versions. As I said, I have got 2 pieces of A6 300 GSM super smooth pink frog card. Now, let me just put them there a second. I'm just gonna, so they don't roll off. Now, I could do that one that way maybe, which might be quite cool. And then the one I want the detail in, I want that one that way. Now, this one here, you could really buff out, like with some charcoal or anything like that. So let me just get, I'm going to get some willow. So I've put this in an old pan pastel pot, you know, when you get all the little extras with it. So I've just put some basically some willow, and I've put some in here. And what I'm just going to do is just grab something that resembles a brush to begin with. Maybe that one actually. No, maybe not that brush as such. Let me, oh, I'm going to do this one. Right, so let me just, and I'm just trying just a different technique actually, and it's going to be good because I mean I don't know if it should work, but I'm just want to, whoops, just want to do it now. If you're comfortable enough, you can do this with your hand, but I'm just wanting to just do something different. Now you could do this with paint. You could do this with all sorts of variety of different things. Now, I would say use an old brush. If you haven't got any charcoal or any sort of dust as such, get your pencil and scrape it on a piece of sandpaper or on something with a surface, and it will give you like the dust basically. So that's a really nice, interesting, cheaper alternative way of getting that together for yourself. And I'm just going to just put down a bit of, I'm going to ground in with charcoal, to be fair. So this is sort of like a proper negative. I mean, I don't even know what I'm going to get on the back end of this, but we'll see. Let's have a little peek, see what we get. Now, when you're doing this, I always go, oh, blow and whatnot. So I have actually got me a little brush now, and the brush has actually got an eraser on the end of it. And this was very, very cheap. No name to it or anything like that. But it does what I need it to do, which is what it's all about. Now, obviously I'm holding that down with my finger. If you're comfortable, you might be able to just blend that off. Now, charcoal's a lovely medium. it smudges really well. And if you're new to doing like pastel work or working with any sort of pencils, this is a really nice medium to start with, to start blending and smudging off, if that's what you want to do. And if you don't, and you like just using your normal stuff with your oxides and all your other bits and pieces, stick to what you're enjoying. So there we go, nice and easy, as I say. Let's see what we got. There we are, one chicken. Love it. So you could actually, I could stamp on that now and really go to town. And let me just put this, because this is lethal, this stuff is. If you sneeze, cough, blow off the other end, this dust will go absolutely everywhere. So there we go. Right, let's put it there. Sounds an expensive day. Oh, mothers and daughters, they always are. Trust me, I know that one. Right, there we go. Okay, so we'll put them there. Now, if you just wanted to do that and just use as a negative format, let me just grab, whoops, let's put my little chicken out the way. So that's the inner cutout that I've used here. Now, let me just grab Nocturne. So I'm just going to do a quick little stamp off with the, because I'm going to do this as a detailed piece with the pencils. It's going to take a bit more time. I just want a bit of fun. You know me, I like to just get the craziness out of the way. And I'm just going to get the one that's going the other way now, Mr. Chuck Chuck. And I'm going to actually use this one as well. In fact, I'll do the other one. These are probably cheaper than being at home and buying more pencils. I don't know. It depends what world you're in. Oh, if you're in my world, that's just a definite no-no. I'm going to put this one down first because I like this one. I love the detail in this. Tracy's got a really good eye for detail when it comes to just putting her stencils together and actually having these beautiful little cutouts. So I'm going to put that like here, down there sort of thing. So let me just get a block. Let's grab that. There we go. So I had a fabulous day yesterday in Birmingham with the ladies. So I want to give a shout out to those guys. Absolutely fabulous. Claimed that they weren't crafters. Some had never crafted. Others were a little bit arty-farty. But yeah, they had some absolute fun. They'd done some fantastic pieces, if I'm honest with you, and it was lovely to see people who claim that they weren't crafters actually do some fantastic work in regards to the little bridges that they drawed and the different animals, pandas, cats, stags, etc, etc. So absolutely stunning work, absolutely. And that's what I love, when people say no, can't do it, and then they suddenly, voila, they do it. So that's what I love about doing a workshop, is just pushing people's boundaries and just giving them that sort of confidence to have a go. And then it's like when they do have a go and it's like, oh my gosh, look what I've just created. It's like, wow. And that just makes it so much worthwhile for me. Gonna have to, yeah, that's fine, right? Go and enjoy, sweetheart. Big hugs and kisses. Have a fabulous day. There we go. So I've just done a drop shadow, which I always love. Morning, handcrafted by me. Hopefully you're well. So I've done that, and then I'm just want to pop on. I'm going to just pop. So that was chicken. I bet you have a little snooze light. Oh, crumbs, I feel like I need a little snooze light. Never mind anybody else. I want to put one of the smaller chickens here. This is what I love about this set. You've got such a variety of sizes. So she does love her chickens, I'll give her that much. My brother's got chickens, which is fab. So let me just put this one down here. So I want to put that here. So we're going to do a little montage of chickens this morning. So this just gets my madness out my head. And then I just want to do the other one. So this is the set I'm using here is TE48. And then I want one going that way now, which is this little fella here. Let's pop him on. And then that will be it. And then all we've got to do is ground these. And then this, for a chicken lover or somebody that sort of, let me just put him, put him there, maybe. No, I'm going to put him here. So for somebody that's got chickens or is on a farm or just loves chickens, this would be an absolute perfect card. Whack some snow on, that would be seasonal then, wouldn't it? snow on anything and it's Christmas. That's the way I see it anyway. It's just a time of year, a season, you know. So this is TE48 that we've used on there, and I've also used TE49 with the word chicken and that stencil there. So those are those two, 48 and 49, diddly doodah. And then I use the new stencil and I use the inner and I put that down to shade out. Now let me just, as I say, let me just pop some detail onto that. Let me just move out the Versa out the way, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to grab me a liner. I'm just going to do a 4, the Pigment Micro and Archival pens, and all I'm going to do is just ground our little chucks, because otherwise what are they doing, you know, roaming around in the wilderness they are. And you can just do some random little lines, a little bit of grass, because you know that's what they do. They sort of do the little bits here and there. 2 many years have gone by, my brother locked me in an orchard. Oh, crumbs. That's a bit of a negative then, isn't it? I mean, if you've got sort of scary moments, then just don't go there. You know, I don't want to traumatise you. So I'm really sorry, but I'm going to be doing a chicken today in full colour as well. Oh, dear me. So there you go. Nice and easy. Matte and layer that. Pop it on a card and away you go. If you want to add an orchard in the background, feel free, but not when Chris is around anyway. So there's one. Nice, easy, stunning little card. Hi Emma, hi SJ. Hi Sharon. Are you and Amanda sisters? We're sisters by choice, not by blood. Kylie, hi. Fee, hi. Susan, hi. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, Trish. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Louise. Hi, Lexi. Hi, Louise. Hi, Lulu. Whichever you want to say. But yeah, there we go. What an interesting question. Okay, so and then the rest of you, all of you guys who are on YouTube, good morning, good morning. So while I'm thinking about it, put your thumbs up, please drop a comment, subscribe on the YouTube. It does help me grow. It allows me to continue to give you free content. There you go, nice and easy. Right then, so there's one card out the way. Really, really quick. You've seen that. What was that? 10-minute job, eh? Done, dusted, tickety-boo. Matte and layer it. Bob's your uncle. Yeah. And it really is effective. I mean, if you really want to go to town on it and put some colour down, then you can. Now, talking of colour, I'll tell you what I will do, actually. I'm just going to put a little bit of, oh no, Chris Brothers. So I have exchanged all of my green handled things for these. So Tim won. Brilliant. I love them. So I have put some white paint down. So I have used my trusty, where is it? Ah, there it is. Bleed proof. So I put bleed proof on the end. I then put it in my pad. And this particular one was peeled paint. And then I put some UV resin. And then just done it, tickety-boo, Bob's your uncle. And I've done that with all of them. So all of my new brushes are now colour-coded in regards to what it is I want to use. So yeah, I'll grab these out. So all my green handle stuff has now been replaced by these, and this is what I'm going to be using moving forward. So I'm going to use the green, and I already know it's got peeled paint on there because as I colour coded them on the end, I actually put the brushes in the paint, so I knew that I can use this straight away. Now this is they are both gone now. Oh bless. Bam. Hold on then, let me just give you a heart then. There you go. These are a lot harder bristles than my old green brushes, but they do exactly what I want them to do. So if you wanted to just add, I mean, how dramatic does that turn it now? Now, obviously, I've got to get used to using these, and I can bring that down and really sort of allow myself to play around with that movement of the brush. But I do like to keep it quite close. And it actually gives me a little bit more control because we've still got that nice curvature, which I like to work around. But I can actually work it in a way that I'm happy with, and it protects the brush. So that's a positive upon a positive there. So I've replaced all of my green handle brushes now with these new Distress from Tim Holtz, little Distress brushes, stencil brushes, whatever you want to call them. And I got them all from Tracy Evans boutique, which they've done a bundle on there. She's very, very reasonable. you've just missed free postage, which is a shame. I'm just going to put a little bit of water on that, as you do. You know me, I've got to have a little bit of a glide of water somewhere. Let me just grab a brush. Let me have a look what we got here. Bum, bum, bum. You know, when you're looking for a brush, and you think, where's my brush gone? Where is it? Hello, little brush. Where are you? Oh, bum, bum, bum. Oh, where's that gone? There you are. Found it. So this is my go-to at the minute, which is a number 4 sable brush. And I've just got clean water. Well, I say clean water. I've just rinsed it out and I've got a bit of purple on. Fabulous. So all I'm going to do here is just move around, just so it just gives that just another little bit of depth, and I'm still trying to keep that lovely bit of background. And where you've got the charcoal down, just put that also moves with water, so don't be shy to even have a play around with different depths that you're doing on there. So I'm leaving it as a main piece, but that little bit of green just lifts the whole card, and there you go. So let me just put that back over there. So that's that done and dusted. So that just shows you that changing your brushes, different varieties, gives you different effects. So don't be shy to sort of think outside the box. Right then, so I'm going to put that there so you can see that if you need to look at that as reference. Thank you all very, very much. God, my thumb's killing. Okay, so my reference picture, as I say, is from the animal database Fandom. Or Fandor, is that Fandor? No, Fandom, there you go. And it's just a chicken. And it resembled the outline of what Tracy had done. So I thought, well, do you know something? I'm going to go along that sort of placement sort of thing, okay? So this is SS30. It's a new one from Tracy Evans. Now, colours. I've got like a pink, black, a yellow, then a selection of browns and a pinky, reddy. And that's basically it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this lighter colour, which is a beige red. Bit of an odd one, but there you go. And I am going to do that as sort of like my outline to begin with. So I'm going to think about where I want Mr. Birdie. Now, you can sort of rub a bit of pan pastels in there if you want. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of just go around so I can sort of do it this way. And if you can't get the pencil in, because there is a bit of a chunkiness to the pencil, just to give you a start point. I'm just going to grab, what's this one? 4B. Let me just see what we got. Oh, I'm going to do an aquarelle. Right, so these move with water. So this is Coir Noir aquarelle pencil, which means that if I put water to this, it moves, which is fabulous because you know me and water. But it will also allow me just to move things around a little bit more. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to just give me a rough guide now with my little chicken, and I can actually go into and put just a little bit more detail into this if and where sort of thing. So if I was just sitting at home now, well, I am sitting at home, well, standing, and I was just doing this as a draw and just thought, oh, I'll post this on Tracy's group. This is exactly what I'd do without talking to you guys while doing it. So I've got me a rough outline there. So that's your stencil, okay? And that's all I'm going to do now, because I'm going to put that away because I don't need it anymore because I've got a reference picture. Now, depending on how comfortable you are, there's loads of different ways that you can use reference pictures. And if you come, oh, his little foot's trapped. Hold on, I've got to rescue the chicken. There we go, mate. There we go. We don't want to dissect his little leg. Oh, crumbs, we're having a right moment now. If we take one thing, it's another. There we go. Happy now? There, they're in. Safe, safe. No chickens were harmed. No stencils of chickens were harmed. Putting them back in there. Right, so as I'm looking at this now, I can see here that we've got like sort of a bit of a black area. So I'm going to do me sort of a little bit there, which resembles that. And then I'm going to think here, sort of where it dips down and down, I'm going to bring his like little wing down here. And then I'm going to bring it across and up here. And then this bit here, I'm going to do sort of like so. Now, this is your interpretation. This is my interpretation. It hasn't got to be bang on perfect. Far from it. You rough it, and already I know I placed that wrong. So This is the most important bit, I feel, is just getting all your perspectives correct when you're doing a drawing. Now, bear in mind, this is it's got more of a curved head. This is coming down. So I've got to sort of adjust my reference picture to what I'm working with. So I'm just going to bring it here, and he's got his little beak's going to come like so. And I'm going to bring his beak sort of in like that. And then I'm going to sort of bring his jowl like so, and then his second little jowl I'm going to bring it there, and then I'm going to sort of bring a little beak up and around, and then his eye will set back about here somewhere. So already you've got a really rough sketch, and that's all I'm going to do is a really rough sketch. There is nothing's going to be so precise about this in the regards to, that's exactly what I'm doing. I like to sort of manipulate as I go, realistically. The only thing I do want to do is just sort of get his beak roughly, and then he sort of, that's more of a movement around here. And then here we've got a little bit of red and a wobbly bit, and then I'm just going to bring it down just a tad here, and there's that. His legs, now the legs are in different places, so this is where you use a little bit of imagination now. And I know his foot comes out like so, like that. Now there's a trick. If you feel to yourself, well, I can't get his feet looking like that, what's all that about? It's all right, we can put them in yourself. Oh, crumbs, I can't do that. Yeah, full. And I know that's going to be a dark bit there, so that's how I'm going to start. So I'm going to put my pencil away. I've left his eye, and I'm going to just do this area here with that darker brown, and this darker brown is walnut brown on 177. I'm giving you the numbers of the polychromos that I'm using. So all I'm going to do here is just do some zaggety lines sort of thing. I'm not going to do anything smooth and pretty at the minute. All I'm doing is just sort of doing sort of a bubbly motion, because I want to look, and when you look on here on your reference, it sort of has a little bit of a W, yeah, a W, but we're doing like, it's a bit like an upside down McDonald M. And then all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to sort of layer it and bring it up, and I can see that this bit here is a bit darker. So this is called, when you're looking at the values basically, so you're seeing what's light and what's dark. So from my little sketches now, all I'm going to do is I'm just roughly placing in where I personally think that I want to do a bit of a dark colour. And as I'm coming up closer to here, now I've stopped short of that line there because I want to, because this is my interpretation, and I'm just going to sort of give him a bit of a wiggle there. Oh, excuse me. And then I'm going to come over here, and that's just this darker area here, and there's nothing set in stone. So where I thought his eye is going to be is nowhere near where it's going to end up. So I'm going to rub that out. So this is a putty rubber. These are brilliant, or they're called kneadable rubbers, and you can put them into little fine points. You can use them to dob out and splodge off and stuff like that. So they are, I like using mine, obviously. So I'm just going to very roughly put together now, just where I'm looking now for little darker points. And I'm just thinking, well, there's going to be a little bit of oomph under here, and then I'm going to roughly take that over. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to blend down. I'm just going to put some of this reddish, what's this one? This will be sanguine, is it 188? I think so. And I'm just going to look now, so I'm going to roughly with my pencil just give it a bit of a colouring over, and that's just roughly where I'm thinking, well, I want this just as an under base coat, and I just want to bring it across just a little bit, nothing major. And I'm holding the pencil down here, not middle and not end for detail to put pressure on. I'm holding it because I'm actually just gliding it over the paper nice and steady. And what I'm looking at now is the direction of those little feathers. Now, even though I'm not putting any detail in, I'm still trying to think of the way and the movement that these feathers are going, because at the end of the day I've still got to get in that detail. And I'm going to put that brush that down now, and I'm going to go on to this beige red again, and I'm just going to lightly See, I've moved my hand down the pencil now, and I'm just going to just lightly just go around this area here. And I'm going to just pull in just some lighter area here. Now, at the minute, I'm just doing scribbles, realistically, because I'm just doing a quick colour over. And I'm leaving this area light here, just so I can sort of go into that. And I'm just going to put a bit of a base down here. So as I'm starting to put my layers in, I'm starting to put a little bit more pressure down with the different colours as I'm going over. So as you can see, I'm just putting some lines down, because when I look here, I can just see just some different colours coming through. So when you're looking at your reference picture, you're going to look, there's a light, there's dark, there's all different tones of colours. Try and be a little bit more, look at that and think, okay, I can see that what she's saying there. There's a little bit of a light, there's a little bit of a dark in that. So all I'm going to do here is sort of try and mimic in my version of event sort of thing, just how that looks here. Now, if I'm not happy with it, I can add more colour on, I can put another layer on, but I'm thinking that's sort of given me that sort of similar effect there. And there's other colours that have got to go on yet, but at the minute I could say, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to look now at the detail around the face. So it comes up, and then it comes up like so, and it comes over a bit here. So I'm going to sort of say I'm happy with that. And there's like a little bit of a whitish area there, which I'm just going to pop in with a different colour. Now I'm going to grab, what's this one? Nugget. Oh, fabulous. So Nugget I've got for like around these back areas here. Now Nugget's quite a, it's quite a nice sort of colour, where I'm just going to sort of blend in where I think Nugget needs to go on here. So just here and there. So all I'm doing is looking where the colour is. So I'm not putting any detail in as yet. It's just where I feel this particular colour needs to go on my little chicken. Little chicken. I bet you've all got sort of really weird random songs going in your head now, chickeny versions. Now when you look in here, I can see lines, and this is why I'm sort of doing random lines just coming along here to allow me to sort of go, yep, that's what I want to do. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on to give that edge there. Now I'm going to get this Nugget colour, and I'm just going to just add a little bit here and there, and I'm just going to come over and around this area. And I want to actually put, I'm going to use, what colour is this? Pompeian Red 191. And I'm going to do this for the, obviously for the jowls and this little area that's around here. So I'm just going to put in a little bit of pinky red here. And I'm going to lightly go over these two particular areas, and that the jowls and his, I don't know what it's called, but yeah, that wiggly bit there. It's got a bit around his eye, like so. So just by adding colour, it's sort of fog on, leg on. That's about the best way I'd say. It's not that bad, but like I say, I'm just having a little quick play with you guys in regards to laying down just a bit of colour. Now, as I'm looking at the reference, we've got darker bits here, we've got lighter bits, we've got a bit of an area around the eye. So I'm just going to try and pull that out. And then where we've got these lovely, where he's got his little, I forgot what they're called, but anyway, you know what I mean. These bits up here, them bits. And then I'm just going to get this bit of yellow, which is, yeah, oh, light yellow ochre, which is like, yeah, light yellow gold. And I'm just going to plonk that just slightly on there. And then there's a little smidgen just around the eye. Now, when I'm doing a drawing, I am very much about looking at the detail. And there's a little bit of yellow on the leg. Nothing major on that. And then we've got sort of a white. Now, whites you could do different or you can leave. And I said, I'm just going to put a grass on there for you guys just as an easier option. I am going to put on some of this. What's this one? Burnt ochre. Very nice. And that just gives you that sort of yellow gold sort of effect now. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit, and I'm going to go over here with it. Now again, you can do all sorts of different bits to put on different detail. I'm just going to put the eye in now. I have got a really long tip on my black. I am very much about getting detail in. Obviously when I'm doing my drawings, I need to know that I can put detail in. And what I'm just going to do under here is I'm just going to put his little beak in, his little bits. And already that's brought me chicken to life. Little chicken. So I'm just going to go under just where I can see now. And all I'm doing is like little lines, and it's like little V lines. And I'm just going to put in bits of like darker, just here and there, just so it gives you that intention of the feathers overlapping, just with a bit of shading to it at the same time. And I'm going to do the same as I come down here. So although I'm putting black on, I'm going to go over it very soon with regards to putting a different colour on. And then here I'm just going to go off my reference picture and just put in that little bit of dark sort of in here. It hasn't got to be exact. Remember, this is your interpretation. There's a little bit of black there. Down we go. He's got his little legs, his claws, whatever's going on with that. Let's put a little bit of something here. I'm going to define this as we go. So I'm going to go on to, is this my walnut? Yes, I think it is. Yes. So on this brown now, I'm going to start thinking about just putting a little bit of detail in. Hopefully you're still all with me and just going with the flow. Hi Ruth, hope you're well. Heather, hello sweetie. So that's how we're doing so far. We're just putting a little bit of detail in our chicken. In fact, let me just put a little bit of this. I'm going to go with this now. So I'm going to swap between these colours. You've seen what I'm using. So all I'm going to do is look at this reference now and just go to where I can see these different colours within my chicken. And as I say, you haven't got to be exact with any of this. This is your interpretation, and I'm being very, very sort of light and quite flippant with how the colours are going on in places, because I'm going to end up putting the detail on in a minute. But this is just a very rough. Obviously, when you're in your own time, in your own comfort of your home, you can go back on this and you can actually add more or less detail as you go. So all I'm going to do now is start to put in sort of like the little bits of the feather, little areas here, and I'm going to bring those around. And again, like I say, it's only like little McDonald M's, which are W's. It depends on how much detail you want to put in, really, as well. You haven't got to put a lot in if you don't want to. It's your choice at the end of the day. So I'm just going to bring around this area here. As I say, it's just all about just putting a bit of a blend in places, a bit of darker colour here, a bit of a darker colour there. I've got a little bit of colour here. I mean, obviously when I was doing the kingfisher the other day, that took me quite a long time just to build up all the different layers. But again, you do your layers in your time frame. You know, there's no sort of, it's got to be done now sort of thing. You do it how you want to do it at the end of the day. I'm just going to bring this over here. And because I've got no reference here, I'm just going to bring a little bit of depth and darker colour in here. Because obviously it's that sort of back undercarriage of his little leg. Trotting along the grass he is. And I'm just going to add a bit of a shadow here. As in here as well. So I'm going to go in with my browns now. And I'm just going to start to build this up. Now you have got a different array of blender pencils that you can also use, which I do use, and I find them absolutely fantastic to do. Now, when I'm putting pressure on, I've got a surface underneath which I'm going to turn my little chicken over and I'm going to put that underneath, because as I'm putting pressure on now, I don't want that sort of indentation of what I'm doing underneath there to come through and actually put that onto my card basically. So all I'm doing now is just having been a little bit more sort of looking where I'm going to put a bit of detail, put this more of a vibrant bit of colour down. I'm going to bring it down here a little bit. I'm going to go back in with this, and this is all you're going to do is literally keep going in and out with different colours. Bit of vibrancy here. I want to just bring his head over here, and he's got a bit of a jowl and there's a little bit of interesting detail going on around here. So little bits. Don't be so quick to leave out. Now I have got a couple of pencil lines here, so I'm just going to take them off. So that's what the best thing with regards to your pencil rubber. It will take off anything that you leave. So I'm just going to bring my beak now. I'm going to take that over and then I'm going to go in with my pink to bring that in a bit better. There we go. Bring his eyes back. Bring that back. Bring his back gel. That's a bit more of a reddier pink. So really I could put a different, maybe a bit of a reddier colour into that. But to be fair, it's gone in quite well. There we are. Okay. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this yellow over my darker shade, just so it brings his beak out. Now, you can just put a little bit of a burn, just so it pulls out a little bit of a highlight colour if you wanted to. Depending on your reference picture, there is some really beautiful, dark, vibrant coloured chickens out there. It depends on what your chicken, that your reference picture is, that you're wanting to put out, you know, at the end of the day. You find your, I mean, you could even do some sort of AI chicken and have it pink and purple or whatever colours you want, really. Go for it, you know. But all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put some additional bits of colour down, and I'm just going to start to bring his wing, just so you've got that difference of colour and just different, so you can see his little wing there. So I am really being very, very rough with how I'm putting this down. But it just gives you that, you know, I haven't got hours to sit with you to sort of show you blending. And I will be doing some sort of online tutorials just to show you how I use different things and pull things together, just so you can then do that yourself. I'm also going to be doing some workshops. So I've got some pencils and all the bits and the tools for the job. So when you do an online face-to-face, if you do a face-to-face workshop with me, you will actually get everything you need. You'll get the pencils, the rubbers, the paper, everything for you to move forward with that. So it's starting to sort of take shape now. In fact, I'm going to use this one. What was this one called again? It had a funky name, didn't it? Nugget, that was it. I like a bit of nugget. So I'm just going to bring that to, in fact, that works really well. So you could put, with this particular pencil, you can really put some detail into that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an eraser just to put some highlights in it to really make it look a little bit more realistic than what it is doing at the minute. Because at the minute, he's looking a little bit flat, where he just needs a bit of life adding to him. So let me just put this round here. Let's have a look what we got. A little bit here, a little bit there. Let's just put that there, sort of thing. There we go. So I know it takes time, but sometimes it's sort of worth the wait when you're doing something for people. You know, you're putting that time and effort in, and you're doing your drawing or you're doing your creation for a reason, for that person, whether it's an anniversary, whether it's you know, just as for a thank you card, or you just want to do a little design, because there's a lot of country kitchens that have got chickens everywhere, you know, and they're absolutely fabulous, you know. So again, it's however you see is relevant for that particular person. So I'm just going to bring my little chicken legs to life a minute. I'm just going to put a little bit of oomph down for there, and a little bit of colour just here and there, a bit of shadow work. So he ain't looking too bad now. It means he started off a bit scribbly. And I'm just going to do a lighter bit, and I'm going to put that nugget colour in. I'm really liking that nugget colour. It adds a different bit of a dimension to it. And like I say, whatever your reference picture is that you're working with, that's sort of what you're going to look at to sort of put in some little bits of oomph here and there, or little bits of design from your stencil or whatever reference you're using, or however you've put that reference down. So there's a lot of different ways. You could use grids, you could do trace, you could do all sorts of different ways to actually add a start image for you. You need a focal point to pull like your reference work together. And again, you do whatever you feel is relevant for you to work with. Every artist is different, and some of the top artists I've been watching just lately use trace or grid, you know. So don't think to yourself, oh, you know, I'm cheating if I do that. Everybody does things differently, and you do what you want to do at the end of the day. Because I've heard that. Let me just find some bits and bobs now. Let me get my box of magnet. That's what I'm looking for. Right, so you can get erasers, which are like a pencil, which you can rub out for different references. You can get electric ones. So I'm going to use Tombow, and this is, I think this, yeah, it's a Mono Zero. This is. It's all right, Cheryl. You're here. You can't take my eyes. Oh, bless you. At least you're getting some ideas of sort of how, where, what sort of thing. Now, if you've got a rubber and it's not doing the highlights that you want, yeah, which clearly, now this is one of the best Mono Zeros. They're brilliant. They really are. I use them a lot when I'm using my pencil work, okay? Same as the Faber-Castell, right? They're really, really good. But you will find that you will need to sort of get something with a bit of oomph to it. Now, this has got no name to it. So at the end of the day, you get yours from wherever you want. I think mine was from Riverland. And then all you're going to do is literally look for where your highlights are. And obviously they're down the back end of my little chuck. Chicken. And all I want to do here is just maybe just put some of that feather marking in. So this gives you an idea of how I do my work, how I do some of my detail pieces. Now I can, when I take things out here, I can actually put them back in as well. So I can go over with different pencils if I want to put any sort of detail or reference in. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just very, very quickly looking between my picture and the reference sort of together. And that will give you sort of where you're going, where you're not. And bear in mind, obviously, this little fella, his legs are different. So I'm actually going to just put him a little bit of detail in that back end out the way. And then I'm going to match it up with a little bit of feather detail here going up. Now, when you do something like that, I'm then going to go over it with was it Cookie? I forgot, Nugget. And this is where you're going to put another layer over. And again, bring your little chicken. I love it. Chicken, bring chicken to life. Simple as that. Now, I need to sort his eye out. Now, because I've got the tip of the pencil, I don't want to ruin this. I'm now going to get, let's see if my number 2 will work. So, Pigment Micron Archival, it's a number 2, as you can clearly see. Now, this is where I'm going to get down into the nitty gritty. So, I'm going to look at my little chicken's eye and I'm going to put his eye in. There we go, round circle, yeah. And then at the side of that, I've actually got a little tiny, and I mean it is a smidgen. And I don't want to overwork it because this is where you can quite easily ruin your stuff. Now, for that, I need a very, very fine, and I'm just going to grab what have I got here. Let me grab a really top. Oh, that's tiny. That looks about right to me. So this one is a 5/0 Fumi. I mean, look at the state of that. That is tiny, very, very. And it's gone in my gob. And all I'm going to do now is just move that, because it's on top of what I've just put down. I can actually move this around very, very lightly. Now, don't worry if you think to yourself, well, hold on a second, I can't get little eye detail. I can't see for one. I've got varifocals on and I'm struggling. So I'm going to get me white. And this is where then you just add details here and there. So I've just stuck it in my gob, as you do, you know me, and you can see that is the most tiniest brush ever. And these are like for sort of model sort of work. So all I'm going to do now is highlight his eye, only very, very tiny. I need water. This is where it can go terribly wrong. Let me just wipe a bit of that off, and then I'm going to put a little smidgen. Yeah, there we go, sorted. I like to test before I go, because the last thing I want to do is ruin what we've already put down. So this is where you've got to know your products. So I'm just going to put a little bit here, a little bit there, and then there are little flicks of white that run through this. Now, if you're not comfortable, don't put it on, okay? You've got to know that your brush that you're doing works like a certain way, and you know, you can put these little highlights on and you're happy as a pig in doodah, yeah? Because if not, I don't want you to ruin what you've already put down with your little chicken. Love it. That's all I'm going to be saying all day long now, isn't it? Is little chicken. So don't be shy just to add. You've got these little fluffy bits here and there on the chicken. And yes, you can put too much detail on it and you can overwork it. So that's when you look back and you think to yourself, you know, looking at it in the, let me look at it in the camera. That looks like yours cloudy picture, but clear on photo. Oh, okay, there you go. Not a lot can do. It looks like a chicken anyway. Maybe the cloudy version better. Oh dear me. Oh well. You know me, to be fair, normally when it goes cloudy, it sort of goes blurry here. So I don't know why, what, how, when, or whatever. So I'm sorry if you get a bit of a cloudy version on there. Not a lot I can really do, unfortunately. So all I'm going to do around here now is I'm just going to pull little areas where a bit of detail. Now I can see that where this sort of jelly bit is here, this lovely colour is going to go in there, and I'm going to leave that white. So there's my chicken done. His feet haven't done yet, but we can quite easily put some grass down or whatever. Now, because he's just wandering around, let me just get my rubber. Now these kneadable rubbers, or a putty rubber that I call them, are brilliant for going around, but just bear in mind, if you just put a little bit of ink down, don't go like that, because you're going to have it up with a line and then you'll cry. I've done that before many a time. So now I've rubbed that away, we're rubbing away bits of chicken. So let's ground him. So all we need to do now is just imagine that he's got a little bit of light. I've got a bit of a shadowing down here. Now you could do many different things. We can just put a little bit of oomph around him, just over the feet, anything down with the feet, and you think to yourself, well, hold on a second, am I going to hide his feet? Well, there you go. Clearly I've just hid his feet, so that takes that out of the way for you. So you haven't got to worry about thinking, well, hold on a second, I've lost his feet. I don't care. He ain't got no feet now, we've took it away. And if you add a different colour to what you've complemented with, the whole piece will absolutely be perfect. Now if you wanted to put a bit of watercolour in the background, you can, because you're using these, they are a resist, so we could maybe even put a little bit of light on. We've got time to, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put him a bit of background in. So those are all the colours I've used, and that is it. I am just going to put a bit of just a smidgen of black here, just so it's just got that little bit of under. And I'm just going to bring a little bit of that grass out in places. There we go. Right, so that's that. We've got reference picture, we've got chicken licking. We'll put them over there. Let me just whack them out the way so they're not in anybody's way or view. Put them over there. Sorted and done. So let me take that off there. The last thing I want to do is put paint on things when you've just done something, especially if it's for you know, for your mate, your neighbour, your mate or friend, birthday, chicken lover, whatever. Right, I'm going to get some tumbled glass, which is a nice one, I think, and a brush. Lisa, where's your brush gone? I should have just left it out really, shouldn't I? Did I not? Number 4 brush, there we go. So water, you know, I'm using GSM 300 Pink Frog. Yes, I'm going straight onto my pad, and I know a lot of you just can't do it, but it's okay. I'll make the mistakes for you, so you'll think to yourself, oh, well, Lisa's done it, it's gone like that, so you know it's going to work, or it's not going to work. So you can squirt water on, you can rub a bit of water around areas, in little areas, and then you have a bit of this, and we're just going to put a little bit on. Now you can quite easily put it down if you wanted to. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get some Uncharted as well, because why not? Where are you? There we go, Uncharted. So you got your light and your dark. You know me and my colours, I do like to put them down. So that's Uncharted Marina, or Marina, whatever, one of them. I don't care, well, I'll call it whatever. So all I want to do now is just water on there, and I am just going to play around, because it's now coming to a mixed media piece where we've got pencil and we've got oxides. So already we've got two mediums on. Now before that dries in, let's move it around. So let's make it look cloud like as such. Let's bring it down and around here. Now you could add a bit of purple in this if you wanted to, if you want it to be an early morning. Again, it's your choice, it's your design. But just remember, whatever you're putting in one place, remember to put it in somewhere else. And if it's a reflection, remember to put your reflection in. Now, I'm going to put in some white because there's too much blue in that for me. But I wanted you to see just the difference of putting it down. Now, I've just put a dab in and I've put it into my lid. You can see how wet the card is still. So with the bleed proof, I'm now just going to put this in areas where I want maybe a bit of fluffy white cloud, because that's all it's going to be. That's what I'm putting the white on for. And it really does allow the blue, the oxide to merge in to give you that fluffy cloud look. There we go, sorted. So I'm quite happy with that now. I'm going to leave that there a second. And then here, like I've done before, you could quite easily get your brushes. Yeah. And if you wanted to just have that top end, you could just do what we done on the last one and just put a little smidgen of green in. If you wanted to, you could just leave it like that. Or if you want to go full hog, let me grab peel paint. Let me put a squidging on the mat. Probably a bit too much of a squidging, but it was a squidging. And let me get my brush again, put some water to it, and let's just add it to that sort of area here. Now already that has gone from just your plain little chicken to something that you think to yourself, wow, you've just created that. Well, I'd be proud of that. If somebody gave me that as a card and I knew that they'd put the time and effort in to make that, I'd say, crikey, well done. You know, that's like beautiful. So don't always think to yourself, you know, I don't like that. Gosh, that's rubbish. Because the person that you're giving it to, the one that you had in mind for that particular card, that particular item that you're making, might turn around and go, my God, that's amazing. Because, you know, that's them. That's who you've got in your head that you're making the card for. Now, let me just get some heat on this. Let me just tidy that brush up a second. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put chicken on, just to complement my other one. Because if we've got chicken lovers, they might like that as a picture, and then they've got a card. So let me just pop this on. There we go. And there we go. Move that out the way. Let's go there. I think that's about right, to be fair. Now, the last thing I'd do with that is, because it's quite scatty in places, I'm going to put a blender over it. So let me just wipe that over there. I'm going to get a blender, and I am just going to blend this just so it just looks a little bit more finished. And again, you've got to, Lisa, be careful. That's better. Because whatever you do on that, that's going to imprint under your card. And even though this is 300 GSM, you'll be surprised what memory it's got. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just smoothing it all out. There we go. There, that's better. And there's my little chicken. And I'm just gonna go around in just a couple of places, and this is just with with my sharp graphite pencil, and I'm just going to pull just a couple of little places together, and especially just around here where I just want that little bit of detail just to pop a little bit more. And obviously just where his beak is, there we go. I just want to bring his beak together. Perfect. And his jowls are looking nice. Yep, there we go. A little bit of a highlight there, and then under here just want to pop that a little bit there. And this is where your eye for detail will make the difference. Yeah, there we go. Just around and down. Let's just bring his leg down here. And even though we can't really see, you've still got to be mindful that he's got his little leg. Ooh, flying pencil. He's got his little leg there. And I'm just going to put that in there. And his back leg is back here. And I'm just going to pull just a bit more grass around this area. And then I've just literally, when that lead went flying, I'm just going to pull that off. So again, all I'm doing here is just doing another layer. So we've got just that different variety. Now, if you wanted to just do a couple of pebbles or just a little bit of line work here and there, it depends on how detailed you want to go. I'm not going that detailed because I'll be on here forever and a day, and I'll be putting more white in, and then before we know it, I'll be on a masterpiece again. And he's only a little chicken. Right, so. And again, I just want to pull just some detail here. Perfect. Now, let me just, have I got a white anywhere? I can just pop a little bit of, what's that one? Right, I have got Caran d'Ache permanent colour white. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's sort of giving me what I want. So that's the highlight here. So yes, I haven't brought many of, but I've got a couple of Caran d'Ache pencils, so Mags will be happy that I sort of went for it. But I can tell the difference between the Caran d'Ache and the polychrome. I do like the polychromos a lot. Right, so I just want to put my last few bits of detail in, and I'm just going to put some water to the brush on this. And there we go. And then my last thing, because I know this will properly dry, is I can put my words chicken at the top just to complement. So I'm just going to put a little bit of white here and there, and I'm probably going to overemphasize these, and that's just for the benefit of you guys, but it just shows you just adding those little details in here and there will make a huge difference to your piece. So I just want to make sure for one you can see that sort of bit there, and he's got the highlights on his jowls and his little bits and bobs basically. So there we go. And yeah, just little bits here, little bits sort of here and there. And like I say, you could go on this for a day really, but I'm going to leave it there because otherwise I'll just want to keep going with it. Then I want to do a different back, because the background of the sky and everything is sort of very, very light and plain and sort of that way. I'm quite liking the fact I just need to darken this a little bit. So you'll always think that you need to improve and you need to add, as you can clearly see. I just keep wanting to do now, but this is where you've got to trust yourself and go, done, stop, hello Lisa, back off the pencil, you know. And I'm going to do that right now actually, but yeah, I'm happy with that now because I've got that. You see how adding that little layer just brought him back a little bit more, and that's the difference, like I say, where you've just got to sort of look at your piece and think, yes, you know, I want that little bit of darker. And it's just having the confidence just to keep going over your layers. That's all it is. So don't be shy to keep going over and over. Don't overwork it. Stand back, walk away from it if you have to. Give yourself 10 minutes. There was a lovely lady that was overworking her piece yesterday, and I said, nope, stop, back off, you know. And it was right. The piece was beautiful that she'd done. And it's just doing that, just being able to say, I'm stopping now, I'm going to walk about. So pencil blender, don't be shy to use those as well. Blend everything in if you need to. Just going to put that there. That's it, done. Right, so let's get chicken on. Chicken licking. Let's put those over there. So we have got, let me just brush that off. We've got somebody strolling in a lovely field. So our little one there was in sticks of nothing, basically, bless him. But the one that we've just done is in a lovely, fresh little idyllic place, basically. I want to put chicken, same as that. So let me just grab, so chicken is on TE49, okay. And let's get some black ink with that. So let me get my Versa. See, there's me. I thought I'd finish with my Versa. So you see how quickly things can change when you're creating something. I know I was going to do a chicken. That's a bonus because I love that. And that wasn't what I was here to do. I was here to concentrate on this one. You're very, very welcome, Moira. I'm glad it's helping. Let me just get a small block so we can put chicken on. So I'm going to put it on this block here. Let's just put it there. There we go. Now I'm going to do a drop shadow the same. And as you guys know, shall I put chicken underneath? Yeah, I'm going to put chicken here on this one so it's different to this one. So make sure you've got plenty of ink on. And all I'm going to do now is make sure you guys can see for one. I'm going to put chicken down. So I'm going to put him down as straight as I can possibly think it is. Nice and firm. And then I'm going to lift it up, bring it down and take it over to the right. And that will give me my drop shadow. Yeah. Now you can do it a bit closer to me. That was a little bit further, but it just gives you what I need on there. Okay. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. So I'm going to rerun what I've used just in case you want to recreate, have a go, play around, or even whatever you've got. And if it's not Tracy Evans stamps, it's whatever you've got at the end of the day. This isn't here to say X, Y, and Z. This is you using your kit, whatever your kit may be. So, you know, there's a lot of stamps out there. There's Sweet Poppy, there's Lavinia, there's Tracy Evans, there's All and Create. You know, the list goes on and on and on. Yeah. So it's all about pencils. And again, whatever pencils you've got, use. You haven't got to go out there and run and buy a pack of pencils just because. Get yourself a reference picture, something you can look at and think, well, there's a light bit, there's a dark bit. What am I going to do? Because he's not the same, but he's given me enough to allow him to look realistic. Yeah. So there's your reference, and that was from Animal Database Fandom. Okay, so I just done a Google search, put chicken in, and that came up, and I thought, oh, that looks like the stencil, and that was it. Okay, so there's those two. So I used TE49 with the word chicken, and that was that stencil there. I used the stencil, so the outer cutout, which is what I've done for that background, and I just put a bit of charcoal misting on it, and then the actual inner stencil is what I used for that. So this created both of those cards. Okay, so there's that part. And then I used TE48, and I used the variety of these silhouettes of the chickens here. And it was just a bit of freehand then, a bit of oxides to put a bit of paint down, just a flick with the pencil, and then look what we got. We've got two fabulous cards with very minimal use on different stamps and stuff. So I'm hoping that this, well, I'll put them like that, this gives you an idea to think outside the box. So with whatever you've got in your stencils or your stamps, these can be turned in. If you stamp these light in sand dune, you can actually create this image from that if you wanted to. Or you've got a stencil that you can actually use to create two different images. But again, very, very, very apt for whatever occasion. Farmhouse, country kitchen, thank yous, anniversaries, if they're chicken lovers or if they're on a farm, that'd be perfect, you know. So again, you could just put that into a tag. These would make lovely tags. Even for Christmas, just pop a bit of snow down and a bit of corn down on there, and then that's it, Bob's your uncle, you know. So I hope you've enjoyed this morning. We've just gone over the hour, so it's not like one of my long stints as normal, but I'm going to mat and layer these and put them on, put some pictures on, and as I say, TE49, SS30 is the new stencil, and TE48, and whatever pencils or oxides you've got. Okay, so I just want to thank Trudy, Alison, Carrie, who else we got? Mags, hi, Super happy, especially with the white. Oh, yes, I know. Debs, Ruth, Louise, Anya, Cecilia, hi, Jan. You guys, thank you so very much. So I'm going to say bye to you lot first. So I shall see you soon. So that's that done. And then I'm going to bring it over to you guys. So let's have a look. That's that done and dusted. There we go. See, I'm pressing all the right buttons. So let's bring you down. So there we go. Yes, he looks quite apt now. I'm looking at him from a distance. So you never look at your work up close and personal, even though he looks great and he's got his gels and his eye and his little bits and bobs. But when you look at your work from a distance, you'll see the depth in it. And I love this effect, and it is just a bit of a crazy one. Oh, thank you, Rove. You're very kind. That's what I've used, obviously. There's my reference pencils, bits and bobs. That's what I showed you and I didn't need. See? So that's the thing. I always get just in cases. I've got my heat gun there, my bits of tissue, water, all my different pencils. Look at that now. How fabulous is that? That's all I need now for oxides instead of madness. Absolute madness. But that is all the stuff that I do for all my drawings with my pencils. And then there's all you guys saying hello to yourself and all the rest of it. So thank you all so very, very much. So I'll be back tomorrow in Tracy Evans boutique, 7 o'clock, 60 minutes of fun. We're going to be doing something in the journals again. I'm going to probably be using colour, so something that's really striking in your journal, so that takes it then on to doing stuff like this. Yeah, so it's going to be a really nice one tomorrow. Maybe some flowers. I know we've done the sunflowers last week. I'll tell you what, I'll have a look through, see if we can do some contrasting sort of thing. So thank you all very much for joining me this morning. Have a fabulous Sunday. Enjoy your dinner. It's quite dry in Wolverhampton. Dave's digging up potatoes. So we got taters for dinner. I don't know if we've got anything else. But we ain't got a chicken because he's here. So I'll see you all soon. All right, take care. I'll see you tomorrow in Tracy Evans boutique group. So get yourself into the group. So we'll have some fun tomorrow. See you later. Bye. Oh, thanks, Kaz. Bye, Cheryl. Bye, everybody. See you later.